Ready or not, here we come.
All systems go.
Okay, what is going on? We are talking about the last race of the Downhill Southeast Series at Snowshoe. Are you ready? How did the season start off?
Yes, I'll start. If we're starting from the beginning of the season, TTC was my first downhill race, and without a doubt, the scariest thing I've ever done on a mountain bike.
Hmm. For me, I was not ready to race downhill. I had no desire to race downhill yet. After the foot injury last year, all my friends want to go race downhill, and I'm not physically or mentally ready to race downhill. So we went to TTC. So that's how my season started. I did not intend to go to TTC.
I always said that TTC would have been an awesome track to race if it was dry. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's never dry." And then I was like, "I know somebody who rode it dry." Steve,
Hmm.
didn't you get a week before? Didn't you get like perfect conditions there?
Perfect conditions. Yeah, I was there the weekend. The weekend before, we had a shuttle, and it was a great track. Yeah,
I think that's I
but
think that's like saying like, oh, I wouldn't mind going to hell if it was cool. Like,
it was a
Listen,
scary track.
it was,
It was. Well,
especially
the
especially
condition.
for a first race.
Yeah, the track was fine. Okay, so that's how the season started for y'all. How did it end? Because we just did the last downhill southeast at Snowshoe. So how do you feel like you progressed, or what did you learn?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I was so psyched. First of all, I love snowshoe. I really like racing in snowshoe. It's such a cool vibe because you're all enclosed. Everyone is together. You pretty much park your car and you're just walking every place. Nobody's really leaving the mountain, and just get
That's
that cool. Everyone there is racing or involved with the race in one way, shape, or form, which is
yeah.
really neat. I think this would have or should have been the most fun track that I've raced, and I was really looking forward to it. And then as it got drier and drier, it got more challenging, and I had two pretty bad crashes the day before the race, which made my race run. It was just awful. Sean passed me, two other people passed me on the track, and
Oh,
I was
John
I was
passed you?
just Sean did, not John.
Ooh,
Sean.
ooh.
Yeah, Sean actually was the most
Be
exciting one
worse.
because he went flying by me. Um,
Oh,
but it was just one of those things where I realized that I still have a lot left to learn and a lot
yeah,
of work to do.
yeah.
well,
Sean,
I
yeah.
mean, me and Russ became like really good friends at Snowshoe. I
Until
felt
you passed him in the race.
Nah, no, it was gonna happen. I told him beforehand he was gonna pass me just to yell.
yeah,
And was it a safe, clean pass, or what kind of a pass was it, Russ? How did you feel about it?
It was safe and clean. It was clean. It was definitely in an exciting moment though, because I feel like I pulled up just enough time to get out of his way.
yeah. I don't even remember what I said. I said something. I think it was funny, whatever I said. I think it was.
I don't even remember.
No, it was, I mean, it was good because I felt like, gotten to know Russ throughout the season. We had met up and read at Ride Rock Creek, and then he and I both were both going up early, so we got to ride a day together. So yeah, it's good just, getting to know
Yeah.
Russ better and riding with each other. And I can relate in a lot of ways to where Russ is right now because I absolutely have been there and it wasn't that long ago. With the downhill stuff, like you just don't roll up off the couch or, off of something else and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go race downhill. Like there's no shortcuts. Like you have to cut your teeth at it and it hurts.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like your biggest improvement was like this last month,
Mm.
and you had to put like some serious work in, don't you think?
I did. and it's hard because I put a significant amount of work in, and I feel there's no cheat code for it.
I still say that one of the interesting things about it for me is still, I'd still do it because it's fun. The racing is still fun, and I don't have enough of that killer instinct or competitive spirit. If I come in first or last, the same thing. I had a great time. And
Yeah.
Sean's right, man. We got to ride some really, really fun stuff on Wednesday before like the actual race weekend started. And
Mhm.
that made the whole weekend fun. Like we did some stuff that I don't think like I pushed myself that weekend and like because I had been there almost a year before and
Hmm.
was scared of all the letter trails. And we did a handful of letter trails that were just an absolute blast. And I was like, oh, I can do that. So there's growth in some places that then, one of the things and I think the three of us have all talked about it on and off over this past season, where one of the challenges is, you do all this work, you work so hard to get there. And then it's all about, it's one race run. And if you don't pick it up in that one race run, it's all over and it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like I would say, like I feel like my bike skills continued like little by little, they get better. And I definitely know like the more time I'm on the bike, the better it gets. And at the end of last season, I was really starting to kind of feel that, like the consistency of doing the races. And then getting hurt, it's kind of like it's like a long window of being back off the bike. But I would say like the Windrock race and then going right to Snowshoe, I got back into that groove of like, okay, the momentum is continuing. Like some of the things that we did on the letter trail, like had it been a year or so ago, like yeah, I'm not just rolling up on that blind or doing that, or I'm terrified, but that's definitely like just that momentum. And so I really felt good at Snowshoe. I was really surprised that after the amount of riding that I had done at Windrock and building up to Snowshoe that I had not gotten hurt. Like I know that's a weird thing to say, but like I remember like the first couple of days when I was I was staying with Steven and I'd go ride and I was like, man, I hope today's not the day I get hurt.
It's true. But you had an
What?
awesome run though. Like is that your best showing for this season, for the
Yeah,
series?
yeah, for this season it was.
Yeah. How did you feel about like again the conditions just changed so much from Thursday to Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I really struggle with the loose, fast, flat cornering. Like those sections, they unnerve me. I really, Jerry said like that's the biggest thing I need to work on is getting used to going fast in those loose, flat corners.
Yeah.
And my hand hurt like during my race run, and I couldn't decide was it bad to change the fork? Like had I really just made this mistake? I bought this, that boxer, and then I switched for my Olins, and then is it my hands hurting? Is it, is the track just really hard? So I've struggled with that track for every year that I've come to Snowshoe. Every year I've never felt great around some of those corners. I felt slow. Um, so yeah, I was stoked on the second place, but I definitely didn't feel like I didn't walk away. I felt much better at Windrock about my run, even though I didn't podium than I did the Snowshoe run.
I don't know, Steve. I'm curious what you have to say about this too. One of the other things that I think threw me a little bit by the end of the weekend was I saw so many people get hurt.
Hmm.
Oh,
Like I think we witnessed somebody break a collarbone. I think I saw another one, same thing. I saw another guy go off that, the Lincoln log drop and just crumple into the ground. And,
Hmm.
those kind of things, they get in your head. And like you were talking about, this whole idea if I got through it, I didn't hurt myself. And, my crashes, I got really lucky. I had some bruises and I hurt like my hand hurt, same thing like, on my race run. But it was I was just riding timid. I had no excuse for the rest of it. I knew how I was riding, and I just was like, okay, I just want to get down and finish the series. But I mean, does that have any impact on how you ride or what you do, or do you change anything because of it? Seeing somebody get hurt, I mean,
uh, Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully you can just put it out of your mind because you need to concentrate on what's going on. But I did want to ask you guys, do you guys have any tricks for not getting hurt?
Ride
Like
really, really slow.
ride really, really slow. I mean, even during the week of a week of practice, you could get taken out pretty easy. So it's like, how do you train but still stay safe?
Yeah,
I think
I think I'm at the point now where I recognize that it is it's much safer to speed can be your friend. It's much safer to be as confident as you can in certain areas, and you just kind of have to have your plan and feel like you're, riding within your skill, but you just got to be on point, and you can't be overly timid. Like I feel like I can get just as easily hurt from not having enough speed or not really kind of being assertive in certain situations than I can, just like full out, I explode. And then the other thing I would say is I definitely am, I'm off the whole like following people at going faster than I'm capable to hold on to. I think that's what's gotten me in trouble is jumping in with folks and they're going faster than I don't track well, like between watching somebody ahead of me and trying to kind of focus on the track and whatnot. And so I definitely I definitely have learned over the last two races to not get sort of lured into that like people are going faster than I want to go and I try to hang on for dear life.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I had a few tips that I thought would work that would be really good. Uh, but then I asked a couple pros, and it turns out it's not really how they do it. But I would like to share them because I still like them, and they are you can't just go balls to the wall Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if Tuesday you could just have like shit like the Tour de France, I heard how they train is in zone two, and zone two is super chill, and that's like 80% of their training. So I took that theory and I was like, if Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday I want to do some type of drills or training, I'm just gonna go out there with like, hey, you don't gotta push it, ride in your comfort zone, and just try and learn as opposed to, and then maybe Saturday and Sunday do some timed laps or something.
Hmm.
And I think drills are cool too. I think they keep you safe too. I just think it's hard to go fast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just laps. You know what I mean? Like the same thing.
I feel like we had Sean. Sean, you were there a couple of days before me, so you probably had a full week of downhill. By Saturday, I was a little tired, and my plan was to ride just to kind of find lines on the track.
Mhm.
And I found that I was actually finding speed in places I hadn't on Friday, and that's what got me in trouble because I had washouts both times and over the bars. It sucked, but my plan was to have a chill day on Saturday, so race day I had some legs left because I did two practice laps on Sunday, which is not something I felt like I was going to have enough time to do.
Maybe worry so much about what everybody else is doing. I think like that's where like I didn't get actually I got two good runs right at the end, and it was kind of like when I was by myself. I think they were like the last two runs that I got like just solid runs. So I think for me, I want to ride with everybody. I want to have fun, but then I think I gotta kind of, do my practice when I'm trying to get up to when I'm trying to go fast. I need to kind of do that alone.
Yeah. Warm up laps or Friday, which is kind of warm up day, or just your warm up lap Saturday or something like that. And then, yeah, I agree. I think that's a
But
good
I think
strat.
that, your question about not getting hurt is challenging because we do a sport that is
Yeah.
innately dangerous,
Yeah.
right?
And
Like, the best way to not get hurt is make sure your equipment's set up properly, make sure, you spend the time before you hit the track that, tire pressure
yeah.
and suspension and everything else. And you have the right tires, you have the right brakes, and everything's been taken care of. But other than that, and not pushing past your level, your limits,
Right.
Well,
there's a lot that's out of your control.
and I would say like I think if I were to take a big takeaway from like what did that extended period of time of being able to ride, what did that all add up to? Is I didn't get hurt because I was on the bike a lot and I was just riding a lot, and you get tuned in, you get dialed in, you get all your timing, everything is really good. So I do think that contributed a lot to like when we did the letter trails, I was like perfectly at peace, and like, I'd been riding a lot and we weren't like doing anything crazy, but like I just didn't really have any real concerns. Like, I wasn't nervous. And I do think that was the time on the bike.
Sure. And that makes a big difference too. So that like it's that balance point between spending as much time on the bike as possible, but also not wearing yourself down.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you felt pretty worn out by the time race came.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I mean, not worn out, but it was a long week, not in a bad way, but it was,
Right.
I was, somebody said, oh, you maybe you should take today off because you've been riding since Wednesday. And I was like, I'm at Snowshoe. It'd be a sin not to ride. What are we
Right.
talking about? Especially, the other reason I liked Snowshoe, that I mean, they had to do what they had to do, but I was disappointed at Windrock because you couldn't ride anything else. They closed down the rest of the park
Yeah.
except for the racetrack. But at Snowshoe, you had all the rest of that stuff to kind of keep you engaged. And I found my new favorite downhill trail is Ninja Bob. Man, that thing was an absolute blast
Bob
to ride.
rules.
It was so good, and I'd never ridden it before. And so that was, like that was it was just an absolute. That was the last track I did before we left too. So it was just like a nice way to kind of end the thing. But I feel like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I probably also need to be in better shape.
I didn't
I
get
don't
to
know.
ride Ninja Bob this time. And I will say, like, I did not feel, well, with the exception of one thing, which I'll clarify, but I will say that the workout routine that I've been consistent with over this season, it paid dividends over that back-to-back races. Like, I really felt good. Like as much riding as I did, no arm pump. I didn't have any. It paid dividends, and so I'm pretty stoked on the routine, the physical routine that I had. I still struggle with, was that track at Snowshoe, was it just hard on everybody's hands, or did I just have a bad decision in swapping my fork and I hurt my hand? I'm still not convinced.
I mean, my race run was the hardest thing on my hands, but that's because I rode so slow. And you relearn that whole idea of when you go too slow, everything hurts. Um, I'm trying to think. No, I don't think. I don't know. It's hard in your hands. There was a lot of, I think one of the challenges you run into is when it's that dusty and that's like there was a couple of sections that might as well just have been ice, which is crazy because I've never ever. This is what however many races we've done this year. Every race I was like, oh, can it please not rain? Can it please not rain? Can it please not rain? And
Yeah.
Snowshoe was the first time I've ever said, oh my God, can it please rain? It
Right.
was so dusty, and so I feel like that's a lot of extra, death grip on your grips when you're trying to keep the bike in control if you have any speed because there was a lot of like those open dusty sections,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was more than that.
Yeah.
Well, that seemed like that's pretty much the last race of the season, except for the Nationals at Rock Creek. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I feel like that's the last one of like the local series. I would love to go to the U.S. Open and do all that and all the other ones. There's just so much travel time.